But also there's another development too, and that is that Deebo Samuel now has put himself in that same level as George Kittle and Fred Warner,
Nick Bosa
in a couple years, perhaps. Maybe even both Bosa and Samuel from that same draft class are now eligible for a new contract at the end of the season. And in the case of Deebo Samuel, I think they probably need to do it because he's only going to be scheduled to make around $2 million next year only. But for an NFL wide receiver, that's nothing.
Yeah, top NFL wide receiver at that.
So if you're Deebo Samuel's representation, it's a lot like Kittle and Warner. Like there's no reason for him to step on the field next season without that financial security. In order for the 49ers to do that, you can't be paying the quarterback $25 million, or at least that's an area where they can save a lot of money, especially when you have the guy who's going to be the future. We all know that right there. Another year of experience as far as being in an NFL building, learning the offense. It's a long shot. It's a big long shot that Garoppolo is back.
I think so too. And I mean, during that losing streak, there was not even a glimmer of a thought in my brain that Jimmy Garoppolo would be back for the 2022 season.
And there is now?
There actually is. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I think at some point you've got to move on. And also you have a rookie that you keep saying, I'm sure, what they're telling him is that you've got to build his confidence, but you've got to keep that up. So if you keep saying you're not ready, I'm thinking, well, when am I going to be ready?
Yeah,
so point. You don't want to go too long on the other end and have your potential future not potential, I mean, he will be the future quarterback, but hopeful franchise quarterback for the 49ers, starting to doubt himself and maybe his skills and his abilities and all of those things. So you have to look at that side of the token too. So for those reasons, I think they do move on from Jimmy G. He's not, that's a lot of money. $25 million is a ton of money, but kind of to what Jed was talking about is you're weighing that. You're saying, all right, what is the market for a starting quarterback now? I'm sure by 2022, he'll be down further on the list in what he's making. But yeah, it's weird to think that he could be around. I just think for all the reasons of thinking about Trey Lance in the future, and when do you turn the page? At some point you turn the page, and you don't want to just be hanging on to the past. At some point you have to look to the future, and you go another season where you're not in the future, you're just kind of hanging on to this thing of the past. And then this discussion that we had a few weeks ago will constantly be there. You lose 2 games and Jimmy Garoppolo is your starting quarterback in 2022. You don't think those conversations are coming back? They're totally, 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games, I think they're coming back.
Yeah, and look at the 49ers, the past, Steve Young sat for a few years behind Joe Montana, and then Jed York referenced the Aaron Rodgers thing where he sat behind Brett Favre. I guess no one ever thinks of, what were you going to say?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I feel, when you say Brett Favre and Joe Montana,
right. Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo is not that. And I know you're not saying that he is, but like those situations, you're going, you sit behind Brett Favre and Joe. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, and I guess the point is that nobody is ever going to really think about when Trey Lance, why didn't Trey Lance play as a rookie if he has that kind of career that the 49ers expect him to. And one major point here, everything I'm hearing is that the 49ers feel more confidence than ever that Trey Lance is going to be the guy. It's just that right now, Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy, and he's playing at a high level. Over his last 4 games, he's played very well. 49ers haven't turned the ball over much at all, but for the season,
that's a huge.
Even for the season, he's completing 67% of his passes, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and his passer rating is 100. So he's having a good season, and that, by the way, that passer rating, he's 10th in the NFL right there. And I don't think anybody would consider him one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, but I just think with where the 49ers are on the salary cap and everything else, they need that money. And, it's going to be really difficult. I don't think they can trade Garoppolo with that money, with 1 year left on his deal. But, and plus he has a no trade clause. But if a team's going to pay him $25 million, he would probably go there. But I guess the major point is the reason we're even bringing this up is because people are talking about it, but also Jimmy Garoppolo's play has kind of prompted us to bring this up, because at one point it was absolutely a fait accompli that he wasn't going to be around in 2022, and it still might be, but now it's at least kind of fun to talk about. Yeah,
it's cracked. Did that sound like a squeak?
Well, I'm not quite sure what that was.
Yeah.
It sounded like kind of a horror movie.
No, that's a screeching car. Anyway, I'm going to